Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm reading out of Reuters, and it's all over the news. It's all over social media that Kaepernick is he's going to join Nike, and Nike is endorsing his cause. So Kaepernick's ads spark boycott calls, but Nike is seen as winning in the end. And this is by Danielle Trotta. And so this is out of Reuters. So protesters, they burn their Nike shoes, and you can see that on social media. Investors where an apparel maker launched an advertising campaign featuring Colin Kaepernick, the NFL quarterback who sparked a national controversy by kneeling during the national anthem. And I agree with him 100%. And I'm backing him. So believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything so you might can see. Anyway, but the brand recognition that comes with the campaign may be just what the company wanted, and marketing experts predicted it would ultimately succeed. Well, it will for me because I'm going to buy the shoes. And I have bought Nike shoes in the past and I hadn't had a problem with them. And I'm not having a problem with them now because he is the face of those shoes because of the cause. And I'm for the cause of what he believes in because I believe in the same exact thing. Also, Damon John, I believe he's the one that started the FUBU clothesline. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'll even look it up. But it goes on to say that the ad revived a raging debate in the U.S. that started in 2016 when Kaepernick, then with the San Francisco 49ers, began kneeling to protest multiple shootings of unarmed black men. So this is right on the money for Nike. They stand for this irreverent, rebellious attitude. And so in this case, it's reinforcing the brand, said Enrich or Erich. So this is a long name. Joe Chase Fowler. It's a CEO. He's the CEO of the strategy consulting firm Vivaldi. Okay, so while some fans praise Kaepernick, which would be me, and other players who joined him in kneeling as patriotic dissenters, critics led by U.S. President Donald Trump blasted the protesters as ungrateful and disrespectful. Trump called Nike's campaign a terrible decision in the interview with the Daily Caller published on Tuesday, but he also showed some respect for agree with Colin Kaepernick endorsement in another way. I mean, I wouldn't have done it, but in another way, it is what this country is all about, and that you have certain freedoms to do things that other people think you shouldn't do, Trump said. So you have to give him that on that people have differences of opinion and they can agree to disagree. But here's my thing. I'm going to continue this article and then I'm going to go on and I'm going to voice my opinion on how I feel about the burning of the shoes and the clothes wear. Okay, so pardon me for a moment there. All right, so it goes on to say that the NFL, which give in to pressure from Trump and ordered players not to kneel on the field during the anthem, nonetheless praised Kaepernick. So the social justice issues that Colin and other professional athletes have raised deserve our attention and action, said Joycelyn Moore, the NFL's executive vice president of communications and public affairs. So in the immediate backlash against the campaign announced on Monday, Nike shares fell nearly 4% at one point on Tuesday and closed down 3.2%. So calls for a boycott fed social media buzz about the campaign. There were 2.7 million mentions of Nike over the previous 24 hours. So the social media analysis firm Talkwalker said at midday an increase of 135% over the previous week. And so this is the ad. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything, just do it. And Nike has always been a key player in using that slogan, just do it, as a motivation piece or a motivational slogan. And so motivated means you're motivated to step out even when it's uncomfortable and to speak out on issues and to be exceptional and to be unique on whatever it is that your goals are. And so if this was his calling to do this, then so be it. And I commend Colin Kaepernick for doing this because this was a bold move and he didn't have to do this, but he chose to do this. And he's proving that he's not a follower, but he's a leader. And so this is your leader right here. This is a leader. And so there are other leaders like this who will step out despite, the people who don't like what his, move is for kneeling in a public setting and using that platform that he had to do this for regard of people who have been murdered by police officers. And I'm not saying that all police officers are bad because not all police officers are bad, but there have been incidences where there has been racial injustices that have been done to people who have been either innocent or they haven't been proven guilty, or they haven't had enough evidence, or they suspect that the person fits the suspect description based on race. And so these are the issues that are hot button topics all over this country in America that have pretty much caused a firestorm all over social media and all over. So my point of view or my take on it is that I commend him for doing this, and I support that same mindset. I think the same way, and I believe that that he should have done what he did. And if I was a football player, if I was out there, I would have knelt beside him. I would have done the same thing. I would have knelt, and I would have also been a leader as well. I would have stepped out, even if it meant my career. And knowing with that, I would have went on, and I would have had other things to back me up, of course, because if you're in the NFL, look at these men. They're, working hard. They're doing the sport, and all of the owners are, white owners. And it just seems like they kind of have blackballed this guy for speaking out. And he did it in such a way where it was really tasteful, and it was I find it to be very passive but aggressive in a way where he's aggressive, where he's not fighting, he's not shouting, but he's shouting in silence. But we all heard it. And so he's making his point, and it's well taken, and it became big. Sometimes your fight doesn't have to be loud, it can be silent, and it can make a lot of waves, and his did. And so I support him on his move for doing this. So it goes on to read that after his protest, Kaepernick could not find a job for 2017 season, and he sued the National Football League, accusing owners of colluding the blackballing him. So he is still without a team. So Nike has sponsored Kaepernick since 2011 and said that he will be one of the several faces for a campaign marketing the 30th anniversary of its Just Do It slogan. And this was a Just Do It move, and he did just do it. And he probably thought about it. He probably slept on it. He probably even worried about it. He probably knew there's a possibility I could lose my career in football, with this particular team, maybe with all of it. but he was willing to make that sacrifice. And so haven't there been in the past leaders who were willing to speak out on issues of injustice, and they were threatened, they were beaten, they were followed, they were surveillanced, they were told that they were wrong, they were told that they were going to be attacked, they had crosses burned in front of their houses. There have been other incidences and other situations where people have been attacked for just saying things in terms of on behalf of people who have been brutalized in the civil rights era. And so even with this move right here, people who have been gunned down by, really bad policing, or there's been injustices done to Black females and males and Black people in terms of the way the world is set up, this was a bold move. It is a just do it move. And so I agree with him 100%. But it goes on to read that the ad refers to Kaepernick's loss of NFL income with the quote, believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. Some who were offended by the choice posted social media pictures of Nike shoes that they had set on fire or socks with the Nike swoosh cut out. And so this has been all over social media. So Twitter users Sean Clancy or at Clancy79 posted a retweeted 20,000 times. Athletes, including Serena Williams, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Chris Paul showed support. And so it goes on to say that the controversy may have been a convenient excuse for some investors to sell an overvalued stock. So Vivaldi, Joe Chis Fowler said, so I may be really messing that name up because it is long and it's difficult. So Christopher Svezia, a footwear and apparel analyst at Wedbush Securities Inc., said that Nike shares were trading at roughly 30 times next year's forecast earnings compared with 24% for the rivals Adidas. And so Nike, more than anyone else, really knows who their customer is. So Svezia said, describing them as largely 14 to 22-year-old males usually are their biggest customers. And so this is a picture. Matt Powell, a senior advisor with market research firm NPD Group, predicted the boycott would fizzle. So old, angry white guys are not a core demographic for Nikes, he said. And they don't. I have never really seen like older white men really sporting Nikes that often. It's usually our younger crowd or people who, say like, if they just want to wear comfortable shoes because they use them for exercising or they use them for leisure or casual wear. And you might see maybe more females wearing them as well. And so, but hardly the people that are, protesting are usually Media Kitchen praised the campaign and said Nike has long proven successful in using celebrity endorsement to promote its brand. So a precursor to what is known as influencer marketing in the social media age. So these kinds of endorsement deals were the first version of influencer marketing. And so, of course, they know it works. And so classic product placement, Lowenthal said, even former Iranian President Mohammad Mohammadinejad weighed in, tweeting, the NFL #NFL season will start this week. Unfortunately, once again, at Kaepernick 7 is not on the NFL roster. And so a lot of people are looking at this. And so this really, even though it was such a silent protest, it speaks volumes. And so you don't have to fight. You don't have to get violent to prove your point, you can silently protest, and you can do what Colin Kaepernick did, and make a lot of people stop and start talking. And that's exactly what he did. And so I really commend him on this. This is my thing. All of those people that are burning shoes and burning socks, there are children that don't have shoes. There are people that are homeless that don't have shoes and socks. Why don't you, if you don't want to, who don't have any footwear and don't have any socks, or if you're burning clothing or whatnot, why don't you donate those shoes? See, these are people who are self-absorbed. They're all about themselves, and they don't care. They really don't care. All they care about is somebody worshiping something that's a constant reminder of who is in power in this country. And so that's the way I look at it. If they really care, then take those shoes and those socks and donate them to these homeless shelters in the LA area, downtown. They have the women's shelters, they have the men's shelters, the Chrysalis shelter, they have the LA Mission, they have shelters, I'm sure, in other places. If you really don't want to wear those shoes and socks and you're protesting, then why don't you help some people out who are unfortunate, who don't have any shoes and socks to wear? That's my thing. And so that's all for this video, but I support his move on what he did, and it was really bold, and he did just do it, and it is a hard thing to have to sacrifice. But look who he was dealing with. If you got people that you're working for that have this attitude, do you really want to be working for people like that? So maybe it was time for him to make that move and leave, because a lot of those players, they get beat up on the field, they use their body and their talents, they use up your talents, and then they don't care about you. And then you have injuries for life. And those guys that own those teams, they're billionaires. They don't even care. They don't care about your body. They don't care about you banging yourself up on the field and destroying yourself and destroying your body. All they care about is their money and you playing so that they can get richer off of you and your injuries. So that's the way I'm going to leave this. But anyway, I commend him on his journey, and I don't believe that he's going to be out of work for too long anyway. So, you know, he's always going to be the face of this whole thing, since it set off such the controversy way to support himself. So there won't be that kind of situation. Who wants to work for people who are snotty like that anyway? So anyway, this is the way I'm going to leave this video, but like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for listening.